Today I have a mini beauty drama for you. These are going to be stories that I didn't think we could quite fully flesh into a full long video, but I still think are interesting to discuss. In 2015, an application was filed to trademark a single word, or should I say name, Kylie, setting off illegal battles between two celebrities, both already building their own businesses around that name. But this whole thing wasn't just about who gets the legal rights to a name, it's about who gets to own that name. So to understand why this even became an issue, we have to look at both of the celebrities involved in this trademark thing, starting of course with Kylie Jenner. So around 2014 into 2015, she was already incredibly visible, let's say. Reality TV had really made sure of that, and social media was only amplifying that too. Up until then, she is part of the Kardashian Jenner machine, right? The show, the family as a brand. But it's around this point that she starts wanting to do something that feels a little bit more individual, pulling focus more towards her. She started to become very, very popular. A lot of that attention, of course, centering around her lips. I've done a whole video on this, you can watch here. People are talking about them constantly, how they've changed, what she's using, and how to get the same look. There are tutorials everywhere, people trying to copy the shape, guessing the products, recreating the look with whatever they have, even setting off the Kylie Jenner lip trend. And instead of trying to shut this down or dispel rumors of lip filler, she leans into it fully and she turns that attention into something she can actually build from. So of course, the Kylie lip kits launched in 2015. It was perfect timing. It was very a genius business move, actually. People already wanted that look. She was just going to give them a way to do it and buy directly into that. But the way she launches them is important, first of all, in this context, because everything is done online. There are no retail counters at the time of launch, so you can't browse, you can't test them, you can't swatch them. You go to the website, you wait for the drop, you try to get through the checkout before everything sells out. And that's what was happening. The first launches were like collector's items. They disappear almost instantly. The website struggles to keep up on launch date. People are refreshing over and over again, trying to complete their order before their whole basket is gone and sold out, right? And then within hours, those same products start showing up on resale sites for a much higher price. And that really became part of the Kylie brand as well. Each launch built anticipation in kind of the way Rhode does now, but in a much bigger scale. People start planning around it, like setting reminders, literally making videos about them trying to get a Kylie lip kit. I remember that being a whole genre of video. And that feeling of missing out becomes part of why people wanted this brand so much. Financially, everything moved super quick as well. Estimates start placing the brand in the hundreds of millions very early on. And then in 2019, there's the Coty deal. They buy a majority stake in the company, valuing it around 1.2 billion. So I know we all know all this already. I just want to recap that because I want to emphasize that by this point, Kylie isn't just a name attached to a person. It's something with serious financial weight behind it, huge financial weight behind it. So when you look at it like that, a trademark application sounds very boring, but it starts to make a lot of sense why Kylie Jenner would want to trademark her name. If everything is built around that name, securing it becomes part of protecting the business. Not just what already exists, but everything that she could be planning next. And we've already seen how that expansion happened. Kylie Skin, Kylie Baby, Kylie Swim, was that a thing? I can't remember now. Each one branching into a different category, even outside of beauty, but all tied back to that same entity. So filing to trademark Kylie on its own makes sense, right? It's not just like, I want to be Kylie and, you know, it's a business decision. The issue is, she isn't the only one who has built something around that name. Because long before lip kits, long before the internet, long before social media brands, there was already another Kylie, Kylie Minogue. And she's coming into this from a completely different position. Her career started in the late 80s. Television first, then music. I forget she's an actor sometimes, but she's very good. Over time, she builds up her own global presence that stretches across decades, not just the couple of years that Kylie had in her belt by this time. So by the time you get into the 2000s, she's reached that level where a first name is enough. She's Kylie. Kylie already carries its own recognition. Like Madonna is Madonna, Kylie's Kylie. But what really strengthens her position here isn't just that people know her, it's how that name has been used commercially over time. Again, this isn't about wanting to be known as Kylie, this is about how their name is tied into a business. In 2006, she actually launched her own fragrance called Darling, and this is during a period where celebrity fragrances are everywhere. Everyone was doing them. It was the skincare brands of the 90s and early 2000s, right? A lot of them were coming and going very, very quickly. Kylie Minogue's doesn't. Darling performs very strongly, very early on, selling hundreds of thousands of bottles. It becomes one of the more successful celebrity fragrances here in the UK, and it brings in tens of millions in revenue globally. It's really fucking successful. And then she builds on that as well. More fragrances to follow. Sweet Darling, Sexy Darling, Couture, Pink Sparkle, Music Box, different variations, new launches, limited editions. But then she also has licensing deals, endorsements, and brand partnerships. She has her own wine now, rosé champagne. It's great. It's really nice. She also owns Kylie.com, which she secured long before any of this. She holds trademarks connected to her name. She's got the Kylie trademark already. So from a legal point of view, there's a clear track record, right? That name has already been used, protected, developed commercially. It's Kylie's. It's Minogue's. Actually, maybe I should call her Minogue, right? It can get confusing. So when Jenner files that application in 2015, it's overlapping with something that already exists, Kylie. So in 2016, Minogue files an opposition. Then from that point on, you think it become like some kind of like celebrity drama, but it really doesn't. It's handled through legal teams. And I think this is part of the reason I was like, this can't be a full video because it didn't get too juicy. It gets a little bit rude, but there wasn't too much drama. There are detailed filings, responses, evidence being submitted over time, the things you'd expect from a legal case, but it just doesn't play out publicly in a dramatic way at all. Most of this is happening very quietly through the process itself in the legal system. Minogue's team builds their case very carefully. They're very experienced. They describe Kylie Minogue as an internationally renowned performing artist, humanitarian and breast cancer activist, known simply as Kylie. They outline her history with the name, her existing trademarks, her commercial activity, including her fragrance business, which is in that beauty space that Kylie is trying to trademark into. And then they bring it back to the central issue here. If both of them are using Kylie in similar spaces, especially in beauty, there's a chance consumers could assume a connection. And that's kind of where most trademark disputes land, right? That's the whole reason for trademarking something. It's never really about who is more famous, who has more followers at the time. The legal system doesn't care about that. But there is a line in this whole thing that gets a lot of attention. I say it got a little bit rude. Kylie Minogue's lawyers refer to Kylie Jenner as a secondary reality television personality. A little bit rude, and obviously that stands out because of how direct it is. But within context of the filing, it's there to reinforce the idea that one side has a longer, more established connection to the name. So Jenner's team responds with their own arguments in a more professional sounding way. They focus on her influence, her audience, and the scale of her business. At that point, Kylie Jenner is one of the most visible figures in beauty. But as I mentioned, visibility just doesn't outweigh prior use in trademark law. They don't care. Their focus stays on who established that name commercially first and how it's being used. So by 2017, a decision is reached, which is pretty quick actually, considering a lot of other trademark kind of fights that we've seen. The application from Kylie Jenner's team to trademark Kylie on its own is rejected. But nothing really happens here. It is business as usual. Jenner continues building her brand. As we saw, it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. Quietened down a little bit now, but nothing gets shut down or taken away from her. She can still use a name, but she doesn't get exclusive ownership of the name in the broader sense of things, right? So she's not going to stop Kylie Minogue using her name that she's been known for decades. So whilst things were very publicly quite quiet, years later from the trademark filing ruling, Kylie Minogue does speak out about it publicly. She actually says, I've spent a lifetime protecting my brand and building my brand, so it was just something that had to be done. It was very clear that it was just business. Honestly, it's all really relaxed. It feels very professional. It seems like Kylie and Kylie just let their teams get on with it. And the way she's reflecting on something that could have been more confrontational just shows how business savvy both of these women are. And that's really how it all settled. Jenner continues expanding her brand into different categories. Minogue continues building her own ventures. There's no public feud. There's no public rivalry. Both just carry on as they were. And when we look back at it, it feels very simple on the surface. It's a first name. you know? But of course, behind that name is a long history on one side, and then this rapidly growing business on the other side. So I do get why these kind of things come into play. But this isn't even that unusual. When I first saw this, I was like, how dare Kylie Jenner? But then I was looking into it more, and this one just feels very specific because it's two people with the exact same name. But once you start looking into it, this kind of thing happens all the time. Katy Perry, for example, she ended up in a legal battle beyond everything that's going on right now, but a legal battle in Australia with a designer called Katy Perry. The designer had been using that name for her clothing label before the singer built her brand in Australia. And even though Katy Perry is obviously globally famous, the court sided with the designer because she had been using that name in the market in the first place and had that trademark. So again, it comes back to timing and commercial use, not just how well known somebody is. Then you've got Rihanna. Her case wasn't about her name, but it was about control over her identity. Do you remember when Top Man started selling a t-shirt with her face on it? It was everywhere. And she took legal action because people could easily assume she was connected to it, and she wasn't. She, of course, won the case in the UK because isn't that crazy? You don't just put a celebrity's face on a t-shirt and sell it, but that kind of helped reinforce the idea that a celebrity's image isn't just public property. It's something that could be commercially protected and should be commercially protected, right? Jay-Z and Beyonce also tried to trademark the name Blue Ivy. That ran into issues because someone else was already using that name for a business. Again, it's got nothing to do with how famous you are. It's about the use and trademark. And even within beauty, you see smaller versions of this happening all the time. Brands trying to trademark ingredient names, ingredient concoctions, product names, textures, formats. I swear Charlotte Tilbury is like filing trademark things against people every other fucking week, I swear. Anything that can give them a bit more control over a category. So when you look back at the Kylie situation, again, it's not just about two celebrities clashing about who gets to own their birth name. It makes business sense to me. But that is the short Kylie versus Kylie story. Let me know what you think about this down below. I kind of hate these things because I feel like people don't get that confused. We know who Kylie Minogue is. We know who Kylie Jenner is. Like, I'm not going to see Kylie Lip Kit and think, hang on a minute, Kylie Minogue? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Hopefully, I'll see you next time.